All right, so we're going to do the second one now. For the second one, same thing. We're going to count the elements. We got S, B, and O. On the left side of the arrow, we got one SB. On an O, we have 2 of them. And on the right side of the arrow, we got 4 SBs and 6 oxygens. Okay, again, just look at the little numbers underneath. All right, we need to add SB and O both to the left side. And lucky for us, SB is just by itself, right? So we're going to need a total of 4 SBs. For O, every time you add O, you got to add O2. So if you add one of this, that goes to 4. And another one gets us to 6. So you have 3 O2s. And then this last one, since it's balanced, you can leave it alone, and it's going to be 1. So it'll be 4, 3, 1. Okay, so today's lecture is called Molar Mass. So if you haven't written the title yet, make sure you guys write the title. It is called Molar Mass. And for today, you will need your periodic table and a calculator. Phone calculator is totally fine. Just make sure you have it handy. If you don't have a periodic table, they're up here next to the projector. So make sure you grab one because you will need it. All right, so let's talk about molar mass before we get into the actual chemistry stuff. All right, so before we start, let's chat real quick about something that we're all familiar with. So whenever in real life we count a group of things, we have different words that go for these groups, right? So if you have a dozen of something, how many do you have?
12.
Yeah, 12. If you have a pair of something, 2. If you have a trio, 3. Okay, so we're all familiar with these words, right? These words are basically groups of things when you have a different number. Now, in chemistry, we have something called a mole. So on your paper, I want you guys to write down 1 mole. And I know the spelling is the same as this disgusting creature that lives in the ground, but it's completely different. In chemistry, it is not this animal right here. Okay, a mole is a way of counting something. Okay, a mole in chemistry is a way of counting something. Now, what is it equal to? Well, in chemistry, we count molecules and atoms, right? Which are really small. They're actually so small, you can't count them in dozens. You can't count them in pairs. It's just inefficient. You can't even count them in thousands or millions or billions. That's how small these molecules are. So in chemistry, we count in moles, and 1 mole is equal to this number right here.
Ew.
Okay, and you don't need to write it down. I'm just trying to show you the scale. Okay, this is a million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, hexillion. 602 hexillion is the number. Okay? You're not a rapper, okay? Stay in school. All right, so this is what 1 mole is equal to. Okay, so 1 mole is when you have this many of something. And again, you guys do not need to write that number down in your notes. You don't need to memorize it. Just know that 1 mole is when you count this insanely big number of things at a time. So, if you have a dozen donuts, you have 12 donuts, right? If you have a mole of donuts, you have 602 hexillion donuts, okay? Which, yeah, you don't have that many. There aren't that many in the universe. Okay, same thing with shoes. You got a pair of shoes. You got 2 shoes. You got a mole of shoes. You got 602 hexillion. Nobody has that many shoes.
Which paper is that one? Just want to make sure.
Okay. The point that I'm trying to make is that this is a group of things, and that's how you count them. So we're going to talk about, we don't talk about that because that's an AP Chem, but just know that's how we count things in chemistry, yeah. So this number right here is called Avogadro's number. Okay, sounds like avocado, so that's why I have a picture of an avocado. But again, you guys don't need to write it down, but basically we use this number because we count atoms that are so small, we got to count them in this group at a time. So I want you guys to take a look at your periodic table right now. And we're going to, your periodic table. And you guys remember how we labeled our periodic table, right? We're going to do one last label. If you guys remember this number right here, we said this was protons. We said that this thing right here was the symbol. Okay, we did this a long time ago. This is the name. And people have been asking me about this final number at the bottom. Okay, and we're going to write it down. This number right here is called the molar mass. Okay, so this is the last component of the boxes in the periodic table we have not talked about. This is called the molar mass. Okay, and so molar mass is what it sounds like, the name sounds like. It's the mass of 1 mole. Basically, how much 1 mole of this element, how much it weighs. Okay, so if you had 1 mole, 602 hexillion of these atoms, this is how much it's going to weigh. Specifically, thank you, I was going to get there. It's going to be specifically in grams. So really, really small. All right, so for the first practice problem, I want you guys to just write down, we're going to do this one together. We're going to write the molar mass, let's do of Na, sodium. Okay, so the molar mass of Na. And it's very simple. You just look for the element on the periodic table. Na is right here. And do you guys see how the number is underneath? So the answer will be 22.99. Okay, but with our numbers, we have to label our numbers. So every time you write the molar mass of something, you have to write the number, but you're going to be required to add something at the end. And if you don't, you'll lose points. It'll actually help you later when we do different problems. But you always have to add grams in 1 mole. Yeah, you have to add the grams in 1 mole. And the reason why is we're going to start working with a bunch of different numbers now. So some of the concepts coming up, we're going to have to get numbers from 3 different places and put it together. And if you don't label your numbers, it's really easy to get confused. And so I know it's a hassle now, but this will help you in the long run. Okay, always write down grams in 1 mole for your answers. All right, so let's have you try 2 more on your own just to make sure that you guys got it down. For number 2, I want you to find the molar mass of krypton. And for the third one, I want you guys to find the molar mass of my favorite, oxygen. All right, guys, so let's go over these 2, and then we'll move on to the next topic. So krypton is on the right side of the periodic table. If you take a look at krypton, the number on the bottom is 83.8. So for number 2, for krypton, it's going to be 83.8 grams in 1 mole. And for mole, a lot of time chemists just drop the E. So you can just write MOL if you want. Okay. Again, just look for the element and the number on the bottom. Okay, for oxygen, it's going to be on the right side top, 16. So you're just going to write 16 grams in 1 mole. That's it. That's molar mass. Pretty easy, right? Okay. It gets a little bit trickier. No, there's a little more. All right, so this is molar mass when you are just working with 1 element. But if you guys remember, chemicals don't like to stay just 1 element, right? They like to combine with each other. So we're going to talk about how to find molar mass of different molecules. Okay, and so we're going to start with the one that we are pretty familiar with, H2O for water. So on your paper for number 4, I want you guys to write H2O. And let's talk about how to find the molar mass of different molecules. All right, now molecules are pretty much the same thing as elements. All you need to do is count how many of each element there is. So if you take a look at H2O, water, there are 2 different elements, right? What's the first element inside of water? Yeah, H, hydrogen. And what's the other one? Oxygen. Cool. Now, we just need to count how many of each we got. Thank you. Okay, how many hydrogens are inside of water? 2. There's a 2 behind it, so there are 2 hydrogens. And how many oxygens are there? 1. Okay, perfect. So this is what water is made out of. And so if you can find the weight of each element, you just multiply it and add it up. So let's take a look at hydrogen. Hydrogen, the weight, the molar mass is 1.01, right? So that means that to get the weight of all the hydrogens right here, we just need to do 1.01 times 2. So that's going to be the weight of all the H's. Okay, Oxygen's pretty easy because there's only one. So you look up oxygen, it is 16. So it's just 16 times 1, which is 16. So what I want you to do now is add it up, and that will give you the molar mass of water. All right, guys, so H2, if you do 1.01 times 2, it'll give you 2.02. Oxygen is a 16 times 1, so the 16. And if you combine it together, you will get 18.02, but make sure to label it properly. It'll be grams in 1 mole. Okay, if you don't have this label, you will not get points on your assignments. Just keep that in mind. Again, I know it's annoying, but it'll help you in the long run. Yeah, what's up? It'll always be in 1 mole. If you're looking for molar mass, the definition is the weight of 1 mole, so it'll always be 1 mole. Yeah, great question. All right, you guys think you can try one on your own? Okay, yeah, hopefully you can. All right, so let's start. I'll give you 2 to try on your own. We'll do one that's a little bit easy. We'll do CO2. This is carbon dioxide. It's what you're breathing out right now. And then let's do one that's a little bit harder. Let's do C6H12O6. This is glucose. This is the sugar in your blood. Okay, so see if you can get those 2. If you can get both of them, you should be in pretty good shape for today. And then we got one last thing to talk about, and we'll be all done. But try number 5 and 6. Okay, so if it's still a little tricky, just remember, first start by counting the elements, and then just figure out the molar mass using the periodic table, and then you just add it up afterwards. Just to let you guys know, you guys don't need to write all this. If you can do a bunch of the calculations in the calculator, feel free to do that. The only thing I'm going to require you have is the number and the grams in 1 mole. Okay, so you don't need to show me all this work. I know some of you know how to just punch in the calculator. You can do that. I'm okay with it. Okay? So on your assignment today, you'll have questions like this, just letting you know, where you have to balance, and then it tells you to find the molar masses of all the chemicals involved. Now, I'm not going to have you guys do this problem with me. I'm just going to give you a heads up. So what I want you guys to do right now is I want you to copy this equation on your paper. I'm going to balance it for you because I want to just show you what your final answer should look like. Okay, so take a second, copy this down, and then I'm going to show you guys what is expected for your final answer. So, sorry, 1, 3, and 2. Okay, so copy this down, and I'll show you what you need for your final answer. Okay, so let's talk about what you need for the final answer. So on these problems, you're obviously going to balance, which I did for you already. And what you're going to do after that is you're going to find the molar mass of everything involved. So what that means is you're going to find the molar mass of all the chemicals. The chemicals are the things after the blank. So you're going to find the molar mass of N2. You're going to find the molar mass of H2. And you're going to find the molar mass of NH3. So all of these chemicals behind the blanks, you're going to find the molar mass of each of them, okay? Now, just letting you know, it's not going to be huge chemicals, so it should be pretty easy to find, but you're going to do them all individually. So you're going to get a separate number for each of these. Now, one thing I do want to mention is this number right here. Do you guys remember this number, the coefficient? Okay, this does not apply, so I want you to jot this down. It does not apply to molar mass. Okay, so what that means is when you find H2 is really easy. It's just 1.01 plus 1.01. That'll give you 2.02. Okay, do not multiply it by 3. Okay, that's only for the balancing. It is not for the molar mass. Okay, make sure you remember that. A lot of people mess that up and they get points off on their assignment. This number is only for balancing. It is not for molar mass. Okay, so when you add it up, do not multiply this by 3 and do not multiply this by 2. This is just for the balancing. Okay, just want to give you a heads up on that.